Shin works in a typical Japanese office, always alone. His life in Japan is empty, just like endless hours at his work desk. While his co-workers go out drinking after work, laughing and living, he possesses incredible powers beyond imagination. One night when he wakes up, he's in this new place that has all kinds of magic stuff and heroes who can do amazing things, and also scary demon monsters everywhere. The first thing he can remember in his new life is being in the middle of a bunch of broken stuff and dead bodies from when a demon has attacked some people, and somehow, he's the only one who doesn't die in that attack. A magic user named Merlin finds him there in all that mess and decides he's going to take the boy home and raise him like he's his own kid. So Shin starts living with Merlin way out in the forest in a house that's far away from any towns or cities. And Merlin tells everyone that Shin is his grandson, and he's the only student that Merlin is teaching magic to. Since Shin still remembers everything from when he lives in modern Japan and how people think about things there, he gets really good at everything he tries to learn. And it doesn't matter if it's magic spells or fighting with swords, he just picks it all up super fast and becomes better at it than most people ever could. One day when Shin is 8 years old, he goes into the forest because they need something to eat for dinner that night. He gets down and hides behind some bushes and plants, and then he uses his wind magic powers to kill some birds that look like chickens and don't know he's there. He also kills a big wild boar, and when he feels like he's hunted enough food for them to eat, he walks back home and brings all the animals to and he makes fire by thinking in his head about how things burn and what makes combustion happen. Inside his mind, he feels relieved that in this world you don't have to say embarrassing magic words out loud to make spells work, because if he has to do that, he's going to feel really stupid. Two other people show up at the house where they live. One is a woman named Melinda who helps teach Shin about magic gear and equipment, and the other is a man named Michael Cullen who teaches Shin how to fight with a sword. Melinda is someone who cares a lot about social issues, and right away she starts yelling at Shin because he's hunting a boar. She tells him that going after such a dangerous animal is way too risky for a kid his age. But Shin explains back to her that it really isn't that dangerous when you think about it, because he's wearing the special magic gear that he and Melinda have made together. Plus Michael has trained him really well in fighting, so he knows what he's doing. 2 years go by, and then Merlin decides enemies that are actually strong and challenging. The hero of the nation. Merlin teaches Shin how to search magic, and the way it works is you have to spread out your mana from your body really thin like a sheet covering a big area. When your mana touches other magic energy from other creatures or people, it reacts with their magic, and then you can tell exactly where they are. Merlin tells Shin that most people need to practice for a really long time before they can do this spell because you have to be super good at controlling your magic. But Shin, all of a sudden he feels this really evil and scary energy coming from one direction. Merlin says yeah, that energy is definitely coming from a demon. Demons can be. By the time Shin is done killing it, Merlin is just standing there with his mouth open because he can't believe what he just sees. Shin asks Merlin, then Merlin asks Shin what kind of magic he puts into his sword to make it so powerful. Shin doesn't really answer the question directly because he doesn't want anyone to know that he actually has memories from his past life on Earth and that he's found him in the wreckage after a demon attack. Shin asks about his real parents who gave birth to him, but Merlin says they're hurt so badly that nobody can even tell who they are anymore. Shin has some fuzzy memories from that day, but he's already accepted what happened and moved on from it. He tells Merlin that the only people he thinks of as his real family are Merlin, Michael and Melinda, because they're the ones who take care of him and raise him his whole life. When Shin says that, Merlin gets really emotional and starts crying like a little baby. When Shin turns 15 years old, they throw a big party for him to celebrate becoming an adult. Some important people come to the party as special guests, and one of them is a man Shin calls Uncle Dazuum, who brings his 2 bodyguards named Christina and Siegfried with him. While everyone is at the party, they ask Shin what his plans are now that he's grown up. Shin says he wants to go check out a nearby town because he's never left the forest his whole life, and other than that he doesn't really have any goals or plans for what to do next. Christina suggests maybe he could join the Royal Knights or become someone who hunts demons professionally. About it. Turns out Merlin has only taught him about magic and hasn't taught him anything else about how the world actually works, but Merlin just thinks it's probably going to be fine and work itself out somehow. Then Shin shows everyone his special spell called Gate, which lets him teleport to different places. Shin does his newest spell while they're still near the forest by their house. Merlin tells everyone to get ready and brace themselves. Then he starts by thinking about fire from a gas that burns easily and adding way more oxygen than normal. What comes out is a blue flame that shocks everyone watching. But that's just the start. Then Shin adds hydrogen to it and squeezes the huge fireball down and out really bad, especially Melinda, who's super scared. After seeing that demonstration, the group realizes it's going to be too risky to just let someone as talented as Shin walk around doing whatever he wants. Diziem says that Shin could mess up the balance of power in the nation, and every leader is going to try to get him on their side. He suggests that Shin should go to a magic academy to study, but Merlin doesn't like that idea because then Shin is basically going to become property of the nation. It turns out that Diziem is actually the king of the whole kingdom, and Shin has no clue about that at all. Even Michael used to be the commander of the Royal Knights before he retires. Shin is totally shocked that all the people he knows are such important and powerful people, and Diziem tells him about how he first meets Merlin. Back when Diziem is just a student, the human who turns into a demon destroyed everything in the nation. Right when Diziem is about to get killed by the demon, Merlin and Melinda show up and use Merlin's magic together with Melinda's magic gear skills. They beat the demon and save everyone. Shin can't believe they used to be in a party together, and he's even more shocked when he finds out they used to be married to each other. Then Diziem tells Shin that if he goes to the Magic Academy, he's going to learn how the world works and he can make friends with other people his age. He promises Shin that the academy is all about merit and how good you actually are, and nobles and rich people can't use their status to get special treatment there. Merlin realizes he can't keep Shin locked up with him forever, so he agrees to let Shin go to the Magic Academy. And when they get there, a bunch of maids and butlers welcome them. Shin goes out to the market to look around and have fun checking everything out. Shin thinks what they're doing is disgusting, so he steps in to help. One of the guys tries to punch Shin, but he's way too slow and Shin just moves out of the way easily. Shin grabs the guy and slams him into the ground really hard and then kicks the second guy and knocks him down too. The third guy pulls out a dagger real quick and runs at Shin, but Shin just catches the dagger with his hand and punches the guy so hard he gets knocked out cold. After that, the girl asks Shin if he gets hurt anywhere, but Shin says he's totally fine. Her friend comes over to thank Shin too, and the second Shin sees her, he falls in love with her right away. So they all end up going to this cafe together, and the two girls test for the Magic Academy just like Shin is, so they all become friends right there. Maria is basically obsessed with a famous hero. This makes Shin start feeling really awkward and uncomfortable because he doesn't want them to figure out who he really is, so he decides to pay for all their drinks and then he leaves pretty quickly. Riceberg starts going off about how important his family is and threatens Shin because he thinks his family name means he can do whatever he wants. Luckily, the crown prince, whose name is August, shows up right then and reminds Kurt about the punishment that happens if nobles try to use their position to get special treatment at school, and that makes Kurt back down. Kurt decides he's just going to walk away because nobody wants to get into trouble with the royal family. Shin gets super surprised when he realizes that August is actually King Diziem's son, since Shin thinks of the king like an uncle. Shin calls casual Shin is with him even though he's the crown prince, but August doesn't seem to care about it at all. Everyone takes the written test in the hall. They have to show their magic. Shin is really excited to see what other mages can do with their magic, but he gets shocked when a boy starts saying magic words out loud. The boy makes a tiny little flame appear, but everyone watching seems really impressed by it except for Shin, who just feels horrified. The next person who goes doesn't do any better than the first guy, and neither does the person after that, and Shin can only sit there feeling disappointed by what he's seeing. When it's finally Shin's turn to go, the instructor tells him to make sure he keeps his powers under control because she got a warning from the king ahead of time about how strong offensive magic already. She warns them not to add their own enchantments to it. So Shin asks if he can get Melita to do it instead, and she says that's okay. She also mentions that Shin got the highest score on the entrance exam out of everyone, so that means he has to give a speech at the entrance ceremony. Shin immediately tries to about it and reminds Shin about the rule that says nobles can't get special privileges. Back at home, Shin decides he's going to overwrite the school's enchantment with a special pen he has, and he ends up inventing energy. He's really happy with what he's made, so he yells out in excitement, which gets Melita's attention, and she's so shocked by what he's done that the next day she makes Shin promise he won't tell anyone that he enchanted his own uniform. At the entrance ceremony, they call out Shin's name for his speech. Kurt just sits there full of anger and hate. Shin, August and the two pretty girls get placed in the S-rank class. And after homeroom, Cicely tells them she's being bothered by a guy whose family has a higher rank than her family does. Shin is glad they told him about it, but then he figures out the guy is Kurt. Kurt walks into the room and tries to grab Cicely by force, so Shin stops him from doing it. Kurt says that he and Cicely are engaged to be married, so Shin thinks maybe he should stay out of it, but when he sees her shaking because she's so scared, he promises he's going to protect her. She tells Kurt she never agreed to the engagement and he needs to stop forcing himself on her. Kurt reminds her that his father can make her pay for going against him. But then August steps in and says he heard Kurt's threats, and he promises to report everything to the king. August manages to get Kurt to leave. Pretty girl like Cicely. Shin decides they should all come to his home with him because Kurt might try something again. Maria agrees right away because she's going to get to meet her idol, and August decides to come with them too, which means his escorts Julius all of his friends to his grandparents one by one. After that he explains what's going on with Cicely's situation, and asks if he can overwrite the enchantment on Cicely's uniform. Melinda then asks Cicely if she deserves the commitment that Shin is planning to make for her sake. Even though Shin doesn't really understand why that matters, Melinda explains that once Shin enchants her uniform, it's going to become a national treasure that could sell for an amount of money that's hard to believe. Cicely starts crying and says she did something wrong by taking advantage of how kind Shin is to anyone about Shin's enchantment work, because everyone in the military would definitely want to get their hands on it. In the end, Shin ends up enchanting the uniforms. Next day, Shin's walking Cicely to school and he's got his search magic going the whole time just to keep an eye on things and make sure she's safe, which she thinks is really sweet and nice of him to do. But Maria's watching them act all cute and lovey-dovey so early in the day and she's getting pretty annoyed by it because it's kind of gross to see. They're all sitting in class waiting for things to start when this girl with bright yellow hair comes bursting through the door and she just barely makes it before class begins. She introduces herself and says her name's Alice Corner, and then she goes on to explain how she was so pumped up and excited about starting her first day that her brain wouldn't let her sleep at all last night. Hearing this makes Shin start thinking to himself about how weird it is that this world just decides 15-year-olds are adults now when they clearly still act like kids. Their teacher walks into the room and without wasting any time he tells everyone to get up because they're going on a tour of the campus right now. While they're walking around, he points out all the various clubs students can be part of, stuff like the magic club where you practice spells, the potion making club where you brew things, and even a bodybuilding club where people just lift heavy stuff. And he makes it really clear that joining at least one club isn't optional. Julius is staring at the bodybuilding club with stars in his eyes because he really wants to join, but in his head he knows that's impossible because of his job as an escort. But then August surprises him by saying it's fine if he joins because this is Julius's chance to actually do something for himself instead of following people around all day. They turn to Shin and ask him which club catches his interest, and he just stands there with a blank look because he genuinely has zero clue what he should pick. August throws out the idea that maybe Shin should just make his own club from scratch, and surprisingly the teacher actually thinks this is a solid plan and tells him to go for it. Pretty much everyone in their class starts saying yeah let's do it, getting all hyped about the idea, but then Thor raises his hand and asks the one question nobody thought about, which is what would this club even do and what's the whole point of it? Alice pipes up and suggests Shin could teach everyone about the legendary heroes and their adventures. But the teacher shuts that down fast by mentioning there's already a whole fan club dedicated to that exact thing. After thinking for a bit, they all agree the club should focus on learning really advanced and complicated magic techniques with Shin being the one who teaches them, so they decide to call it the Ultimate Magic Study Group and everyone seems happy with that name. When the next day rolls around and they're back at school, word gets around that Kurt's been grounded and stuck at home, which makes Shin curious, so he asks everyone why Kurt's always so angry and mean to people all the time. The other students tell him that Kurt actually used to be a pretty normal guy and wasn't always such a jerk, but something changed in him when he started spending tons of time at this weird lab place that belongs to a guy named Mr. Strom. Apparently, Mr. Bertram was the person who taught the magic back when they were in middle school, and he was actually good at noticing which students had talent, but most people stayed away from him on purpose because he gave off sketchy and suspicious vibes, and Kurt was the only one who didn't seem to care about that. Cicely's got this sad look on her face because in her mind she's thinking that now Kurt isn't causing problems anymore. Shin won't have any reason to keep walking her to school and protecting her like some kind of prince from a fairy tale. But her whole face lights up and she turns red when Shin tells her he's planning to keep walking with her every single day because he wants to. Shin mentions to the group that his search magic usually lets him pick up on when somebody has evil or bad intentions toward others, and this blows everyone's mind because they had no idea magic could even work that way. He breaks it down for them by explaining that demons give off this really dark and twisted kind of magic energy that feels totally wrong and abnormal, and when people are bad or planning something terrible they have that same exact feeling coming off them. This gets Rin curious, and she asks Shin point blank if he's actually gone out and hunted demons in real life before, and Shin just nods like it's no big deal. The whole group is already shocked by that answer, but their jaws hit the floor when they hear the rest of the story and learn that Shin was literally just a 10-year-old kid when he went out alone and took down a massive, demonized bear that was 3 meters tall all by himself without any help. They're hanging out near the cafeteria entrance when suddenly Shin's senses go crazy because he's picking up demonic energy really close by, and when he looks around to find the source it turns out to be Kurt, who shows up out of nowhere and doesn't waste a single second before launching a full-blown attack on them using his flame magic. The barrier that Shin puts up is struggling hard to keep the flames back, so he yells at everyone in the group to pump mana into their uniforms right now to activate the protective enchantments. The heat coming off those flames is so crazy intense that Shin's hands actually get burned pretty badly, but then his auto-healing enchantment starts doing its job and kicks in to fix the damage and take away some of the pain. Everyone suddenly realizes that Kurt isn't just mad or trying to scare them, he's genuinely trying to murder all of them and end their lives, so they brace themselves and get ready to fight back against him. Kurt just keeps spreading this nasty negative aura everywhere around him while his body slowly changes and transforms into a demon right there in front of their eyes. Shin doesn't hesitate and immediately tells August to get everyone else out of there and bring them somewhere safe while Shin stays behind to deal with Kurt and keep him busy. August gets really mad at Shin because he feels like Shin doesn't think any of them are strong enough or capable enough to help fight. But Shin explains to him that he's not trying to insult them, he just needs them to be safe and that's what matters most. August takes a second to think about it and realizes Shin's actually making sense and doing the right thing, so he leads all the other students away to a safe location. Now that nobody else is around to worry about or get in the way, Shin activates his blue flames and gets himself ready for the fight that's about to happen. Kurt comes at him with attacks that are super explosive and powerful, while Shin uses his gear to dodge and move out of the way of everything. Shin tries to hit Kurt with some tiny flames to slow him down, but those small flames end up causing way more damage than Shin was expecting them to. Kurt manages to get back up on his feet and starts yelling curse words and insults at Shin, which completely surprises Shin because demonoids aren't supposed to be able to talk or think clearly like normal people can. Kurt keeps launching attacks after attacking Shin over and over again, but Shin dodges every single one by using his gear to fly up into the air where Kurt can't reach him from the ground. While he's up in the air, Shin uses lightning magic and shoots it down at Kurt, and even though the lightning does hurt him and cause some damage, it's nowhere near enough to actually stop Kurt because he just keeps going on his rampage and destroying everything around him. Shin's floating there trying to come up with some kind of plan or idea to save this student from dying while there's still time, but then Kurt's magic power starts building up inside him at such a ridiculously high speed that his body starts to self-destruct from all that energy. Shin realizes in that moment that when Kurt explodes, the blast is going to be so huge that it'll completely destroy the entire school building and probably kill everyone inside, so he pulls out his ultrasonic blade and charges straight at Kurt as fast as he can, weaving around and dodging all of Kurt's desperate attacks before finally cutting him down with his sword. After it's all over, Shin drops down to his knees on the ground because the weight of what just happened hits him all at once and he realizes he just took another person's life with his own hands. His friends show up and they're totally amazed Shin beat the demon, while Strom, the guy who turned Kurt into a demon, is now targeting Shin, who sits staring blankly at the window. August arrives and says Kurt's transformation makes no sense, and August agrees since Kurt didn't know enough magic to accidentally turn himself into a demon. He figures it must be artificial, especially since Kurt could still think and talk unlike normal demons. This makes him think Kurt was used for human experiments. That day they get home and find the king and his helper waiting for Shin, and the king gives him the first merit honor for stopping the crisis. Shin is surprised, but Merlin confronts Diziem, who explains fast that news already spread everywhere and not giving a hero an award would upset people. He promises again to keep Shin out of politics, so Merlin has to agree. The next day Shin becomes the talk of the town, which makes walking around uncomfortable since all the girls notice him, but Cicely's presence makes them think he's taken. At school everyone rushes to join Shin's club, so the teacher worries about putting a cap on members. He decides the minimum requirement is being able to use other dimensional storage space. In the end, only 2 students pass. Mark Bean, the son of a blacksmith, and his childhood friend Olivia Stone, whose family owns a diner. Turns out, Alice and the ladies love their dinner, so Olivia promises to reserve a table for them. Shin mentions he'd like a custom weapon, but Mark says he can barely make a knife right now, so Shin has to wait. Mark thinks a demon-killing sword must be exceptional, but Shin explains he used a regular sword enchanted to vibrate at ultrasonic speed. But since they're thin they break easily, so he wants to adjust. Yuri, his classmate and an enchanter, remarks on how outstanding Shin's talent is, but he encourages her. He offers to introduce her to Melinda, and she quickly says yes. Afterward Shriram gets brought in for questioning by the Order of Knights. However, it becomes clear they heavily suspect him. After being surrounded and unable to prove his innocence, he drops the act and reveals his true villainous nature. He explains he's been conducting human experiments, and now that they're over, he's ready to escape. The group stumbles onto the battle scene with Strom at the center. Once he starts confessing to demonizing Kurt, Shin dashes at him with his sword and flame. He blocks the attack and evades all the strikes while Shin keeps slashing but gets nowhere with his sword strikes. He uses earth magic to get in the air in a virtually inescapable position. However, Strom can use floating magic. Shin unexpectedly lifts himself toward him with his gear and lands a strike. He follows up with intensely hot flames, making Strom push him back with a powerful surge. Unfortunately, his glasses get broken and everyone finds out he's a demon with perfect control over reason. He boasts about how he's reached a peak where humans are nothing but playthings. This angers Shin, who launches an impulsive attack. Strom thinks he missed, but really Shin was just buying time to activate a devastating spell by concentrating on sunlight. Shin activates the spell and dozens of beams of concentrated sunlight pierce the roof and hit Strom, resulting in a huge explosion. As the explosion dies down, Shin finds the surroundings have turned to glass because of the heat from the concentrated sunlight, but despite the damage he doubts Strom's survival. He gets thanked by the head court magician and knight commander for his help. They ask how he created such a spell, but when he starts explaining the concept, even the court mage can't keep up. The next day Shin's heading to the blacksmith with his friends and everyone's happy except Shin, who's convinced Strom is still alive. August gets shocked hearing this, and Shin explains his sunlight attack made glass craters with no explosions. He thinks the huge explosion was Strom's trick to escape safely. August agrees this makes sense, so he tells Shin to order whatever he needs and the royal family will pay. The prince says since Shin's the only one who can fight Strom, they need to give him the best gear. They reach the blacksmith shop where Mark and Olivia are waiting. The girls take Olivia for girl talk while the boys go inside. Mark's dad isn't happy about people in his workshop, but when August introduces himself, the dad and workers fall to their knees. Then August introduces Shin and the dad freaks out learning he's the great sage's grandson and the new hero. He's eager to make weapons for Shin, who tells him the order details. They leave and find Cicely and Maria have exhausted Olivia. Shin asks Mark if they sell other things. Mark says the second floor has houseware and the third has accessories. Shin immediately asks Cicely if she wants accessories, and she blushes thinking he'll buy her a ring. But he just wants an accessory to enchant with defensive magic for her safety, and she feels disappointed. Bothered by her reaction and his friend stares, Shin takes Cicely accessory shopping right away. She asks him to choose, and he picks up an expensive ring. He puts it on her middle finger and holds her hand saying this ring will keep her safe. Days later Shin's dressed for his award ceremony. He's presented to the royal court and nobles applaud. The king gives him his medal, then announces Shin can't be used for military or political purposes. He says breaking this means Merlin and his family leave the nation. Next day Shin startles everyone arriving with gate magic. He explains he escaped the fan mob at his house. He tells curious Lin his gate reduces distance between locations rather than regular teleportation. She doesn't understand, so he encourages her saying even Merlin can't grasp the concept. He suggests the group level up since the capital's less safe. He explains they need to learn their magic amount, contrary to belief that higher spells need incantations. Everything boils down to magic as fuel for spells. First, he checks Maria's barrier, which seems thin. He asks Cicely to make a barrier using his gifted enchanted accessory. Hers is thicker and firmer since the ring has his precise magic control. Shin demonstrates his magic control to the group, but the density is so strong almost everyone suffocates. Shin tells them until they reach this magic control level, they can't fight demons. Later he takes everyone home and his friends are excited to meet the legendary sage and guru. Shin explains there was another crowd at the school gate, and Merlin laughs saying that's the price of fame. He learns Shin's training friends in his club. Students ask if Merlin taught Shin strange spells, and he replies he taught basics and Shin reinvented magic himself. Merlin says magicians visualize spell results, but Shin focuses on process. He asks if students know how fire burns, but they know nothing about combustion. Neither does Merlin, but he knows his grandson asks curious questions and improves his magic that way. Suddenly Merlin uses gate magic, surprising Shin. Shin laughs saying he finally understood the principles and mastered this spell. He tells students Shin isn't the only one using this magic. Merlin believes anyone understanding principles well and visualizing processes accurately can do similar magic, giving everyone confidence. Rin takes that confidence to practice, and next day comes to school with bruises and scorched hair. Shin asks what happened and she says she practiced magic control, but it got out of hand causing a small explosion. Shin worries, but Rin says this is normal since her dad's the magician of the court. Later Shin and friends go to Mark's smithy, where the first sword prototype is ready. Pulling the trigger ejects the blade from the hilt so a new blade can be inserted. Tony, who gave Shin this idea, is impressed, and so is August. He asks Shin if he minds them using special swords in their army. August clarifies he means the replaceable blade sword, not the ultrasonic blade. He thinks this keeps military budget down and improves strength, needed soon since war with a neighboring empire is possible. Other students know this and believe if war stretches, they'll be enlisted. August tells them not to worry yet and assures Shin the country will keep its promise not dragging him to war. However, Shin replies that even if they don't draft him, he won't sit back when friends are in danger, so he'll join battle to protect them. Meanwhile, Strom survives and puts his plans in motion. He uses minions to instigate the Empire's emperor into war with the kingdom, saying they're already facing demon trouble. When the Empire's army launches their attack on the kingdom, they get a nasty surprise because their enemies are totally prepared and waiting for them. The Empire's forces get destroyed badly in the fighting, and then news reach the Emperor that demons have been seen running around in his capital city. The Emperor immediately turns around and rushes back home, but by the time he gets to his capital, the place has been completely wrecked and torn apart by demons that work for Strom. When the Emperor finally makes it to his throne room, he finds Strom just sitting there waiting for him. Strom announces he wanted to personally be the one to kill the Emperor, and before the Emperor can even yell for guards to help him, Strom uses magic to tie him up and then blasts him into nothing. Pretty soon Lord Gaster and Rupert show up at the capital planning to defeat the Emperor once and for all, but instead they walk right into a party thrown by Strom with his whole demon army there. They immediately turn around and run away to report what they saw to the king, who realizes they've got a way bigger problem than just war on their hands now. The kingdom gets put on high alert right away, and even the school starts working on making everyone better at combat, so they announce joint training sessions with the Order of Knights. The entire class immediately gets depressed and upset about this news since knights and magicians don't really get along well with each other. The knights call magicians sprouts because they think they're weak and pathetic, while magicians call knights muscle brains because they just use physical strength. Shin tries explaining to everyone why it's important for them to work together and help each other out, but people turn on him since he could fit into either group. When he mentions he got trained by Michael, everyone completely loses it since Michael's considered a sword saint. In the end, Shin can't get them to agree to work nicely with the knights. During the joint training exercise, their job is to go into the forest and kill demons. Everyone meets up outside the city gates, and Shin gets put in a team with August, Cicely, and Maria. Right after the knights show up, they start talking trash about the rumored hero Shin, saying he's going to slow them down during the mission. They all say their names to introduce themselves, and Shin asks them if they've ever actually fought a demon before, but they immediately think he's trying to insult them. He tells them that not working together as a team means they're all going to die for sure. But the knights keep bragging about how skilled and capable they are when August jumps into the conversation. They pretend to agree about working together, though August doesn't believe them at all. He quietly tells Shin not to kill any demons, so the knights can get chances to show off what they can do and learn how useless they are without magicians backing them up. When they get to the area where they're supposed to be, their supervisors Christina and Siegfried are there to meet them. Shin begs them not to argue and fight with each other, but it seems like there's no way to stop it. Out of nowhere, Maria and the female knights start fangirling over Siegfried, while the rest of the knights do the exact same thing for Christina. Shin had zero clue they had so many fans, but August explains they're obviously super popular since they're strong enough to be the king's personal guards. August tells the supervisors about the plan to let knights fight by themselves first, and they say okay because they know it'll be helpful for the knights to understand their own limits. Early on, the knights keep watching for danger even though Shin tells them there aren't any demons nearby. When Shin finally detects a demon, Siegfried tells everyone to get ready for fighting. This raging boar comes charging at them, but all Shin can think about is how delicious it would taste if it hadn't turned into a demon. The knights hold their position even though the demon is massive and scary. However, their attacks don't do anything because the demon moves too fast for them to hit. It breaks through their formation completely and turns around to come back and finish killing them. Right at that moment, Shin flies in with his sword and cuts the monster's head off with just one swing. They get yelled at so badly afterward, and Christina really drives home the point about how weak they actually are. After that, Sicily uses her healing magic on their injuries, so they all finally agree to work as a team together. They start treating Sicily like she's some kind of goddess, and this bothers not just Shin but also the female knight who's never been treated like a delicate princess before. Just then some knights come running in to report that over 100 demons are coming straight toward them. However, Shin says he'll handle all of them by himself. Everyone else gets told to stay far away from him so he has room to get his atomic bomb spell ready. Everyone panics when they spot a catastrophe-class demon leading all the other demons in the charge. However, Shin sends out a single attack that flattens the entire forest along with every single thing in front of him. Finally, seeing Shin's magic in action leaves absolutely everyone amazed and shocked. The woman knight goes over to apologize for being rude to him before. She even apologizes to Sicily because she thinks they're dating each other. Both of them start blushing and make it super obvious to everyone standing around that they're totally in love with each other. After all of this happens, the group members finally can't focus because of all the fire, so the knights get a chance to attack. Shin makes a magic barrier to keep everyone safe from the bear's attacks, and the knights come at it from every direction until they finish it off. Sicily heals everyone when the fight is over, and the knights keep acting all lovey-dovey toward her even though they know she's already taken by someone else. Siegfried and Christina are really happy to see how much better everyone is working as a team. Then Siegfried wants to know from Shin why his friends get so much better, because now they're just as powerful as the court magicians. Shin tells him that they make a study group where they practice magic the way he learns it from Merlin, and he also shows them the right way to picture things in their minds. Siegfried gets really interested in the study group and wants to learn from Shin too, but August stops him from doing that. August says that since Siegfried works for the military, learning Shin's magic would break the promise they make to Merlin. Not just that, but Shin's magic is way too powerful, and it could end up destroying everything if bad people get their hands on it. August even tells Shin that he needs to be more careful and shouldn't teach his stuff becomes easy if you practice controlling your magic every day. And Maria says that her barrier is still way thinner than the one Shin makes. She starts laughing and says that they'll never be able to reach the level that the sage's grandson is at, but Siegfried tells her she should believe in herself because she's someone special. What he says is enough to make Maria feel really good even though she's always been single, and then Siegfried says he's going to start practicing magic control too. Shin starts thinking about how his other friends are doing in their groups. In a different part of the forest, Mark, Olivia, Tony, and Julius are hanging out with some knights. One of the knights is being really mean to Tony because they're friends back in middle school, but then Tony leaves and goes to the Magician Academy instead. Out of nowhere, a wolf demon jumps out and attacks them, and the knight runs forward to fight it by himself. Even though the supervisor says it isn't safe to do that, the other knights also rush forward, but then more wolf demons show up and attack. The knights are in big trouble now, but Tony and the other magicians help them out by shooting down the demons from far away. The supervisor can't believe it when he sees that the demons are totally destroyed and only big holes are left in the ground. Tony walks over to his old friend, who's still being cold to him. His friends ask if there's some other reason why he's so mad, and Tony thinks about it for a bit before he remembers something else. The Night Keeper used to like a girl, but she tells Tony she likes him instead, and they go out for a little while, which makes the night eat. When a bunch of small dog demons attack, the knights show how useless they really are. And they get rid of the demons with their magic. Rin's magic goes crazy and blows up all of a sudden, which hurts her own team too. Later on, everyone comes back acting all romantically with each other during the mission. Both of them get embarrassed when she says that, and then Maria stops joking around and in their study group except for Shin is going to be put under national supervision once they finish school. He thinks they're going to make a special unit that works right under him, but even then, other countries might try to get them to join their side. Shin says sorry to his friends for changing their lives in such a big way, but they're actually really happy about it. They think it's awesome that they already have fancy jobs lined up before they even graduate. Everyone asks Shin to teach them even more stuff, and he figures out that if they're going to be a special unit that can save the world, they need to get way stronger. A few days go by, and then Shin takes the girls from Gary, and August says it looks almost like a real training exercise that the National Magic Division does. Shin tells him that he picks this spot because he knows it really well, and nobody is going to come here to watch them after the training is done. August talks to everyone and tells them some new stuff about the demons. He says it's still supposed to be a secret from the government, but all the people there aren't just regular citizens anymore. When the war with demons finally starts, this is bigger. Shin is sure that Strom is the one behind all of this, and he knows that if they have to fight him for real, They need to do some extra stuff to prepare, so he tells his friends that they're going to have a training camp soon. He says they're going to do the training and real practice in this mountain area, and they have to find a place nearby where they can stay and chill out. After everyone shares their ideas, Maria says they should go to Cicely's place because her family has a hot spring. She thinks it's a good idea and says yes right away. Later on, he tells his grandparents about the training camp, and they're cool with it. But Melinda wants to know who's going to watch over them. Shin asks her why they even need that, and she yells at him that teenage boys and girls can't just be left alone in the same place without someone supervising them. Even though she seems that give them natural air conditioning and make them not tired. Shin doesn't even know that stuff like this is real, and he's shocked to learn that Melinda is the person who makes them. The old lady really enjoys all the nice things they're saying, as they talk about how Melinda thinks outside the box and makes pieces of magic gear that people sticks in it to pick the right person by drawing sticks. Lynn gets picked first, and she wipes out the whole pack of wolf demons with a really strong wind spell. Shin tells her that if she holds back her magic power just a little bit, she can use her spell faster. Pretty soon after that, they get to the hot spring city of Claude and show up at Cicely's mansion. Cicely's manager and servants say hello to everyone, and they already start thinking of Shin as their future son-in-law. Later, they get into the hot water and Merlin thanks the boys for being friends with Shin, because he never has any friends his own age before he starts going to the academy. Otis thanks Merlin back, saying that he also never has a friend who talks to him in a normal way before Shin comes around. He's happy about how Shin changes their lives. The next morning, everyone starts doing their magic control training with Merlin watching over them. He gives them advice that's just for them based on how they're doing, and like always, Lynn lets out way too much magic that she can't control. This time, Merlin tells her to stop and makes sure everyone is protected from getting caught in her explosion. After that, Melita also teaches the students some lessons about magic gear and how to chant properly. Following that, Shin brings everyone to the mountain range so they can do their hands-on training, and the students shoot off magic spells without saying any words. Melita figures that they're strong enough already to completely shut down the Department of Magic, but Shin and Merlin believe there's still room for them to get better. Shin understands that if they're going to battle a whole army of demons with Chakram leading them, everyone who's there, including himself, has to become more powerful. The others take what he says seriously and right away create their magic barriers to keep themselves safe from the shockwave that's going to come from the new spell Shin plans to test. He starts by picturing some gas that catches fire really easily to make blue fireballs, and then he puts them all together into one huge fireball. Once he does that, he makes a tornado spin around the fireball as he aims it in front of him. Up until this point, Shin uses this crazy powerful spell to hit a wide area, but right now he wants to control where it goes and make it deal damage to just one spot. He lets the attack loose when its power and control are exactly right, and it wipes out everything that's in its way. Shin feels happy that his new move works the way he wants, but Melinda smacks him really hard with her fan while she calls him an idiot. She wants to know why in the world he needs a move that's strong enough to blow up 3 hills one after another. Shin says in a nervous voice that he doesn't think it's going to be that powerful, but she isn't happy with what he tells her. The other students are scared of how powerful he is, and nobody buys his explanation. Shin tries telling them that it isn't such a huge deal. The class ends for the day, and while everyone travels back to where they're staying, August asks Shin to use the gate spell and bring him to the castle so he can find out what's happening with the war. Shin does what he asks and brings him to the castle, where a grumpy blonde girl waits for the prince. Avis gets all nervous when he sees her and then tells Shin that the girl is someone he's engaged to, Elizabeth. She gives Shin a polite introduction of herself, and then starts going off on August to head to the camp and leaving her by herself. August's little sister May shows up right at that moment, and she totally agrees with her future sister and Will. Even though she doesn't miss her brother all that much, she's mad at him because he's camping out with Guru Melinda, who happens to be someone she looks up to. August messes with her and May gets annoyed, but when she spots Shin, she becomes even more flustered. She tells him who she is as a huge fan of Melinda, and Shin thinks she's adorable. August wants to know from the 2 girls why they're at this place, and they say they're going with him to the training camp. He isn't willing to bring them along to that place, since he thinks it's dangerous, and he shouts that they're never going to get the king's permission. He turns out to be wrong immediately, as his dad tells him to bring his fiancée and little sister to the camp. August feels really upset about this, but Shin just laughs quietly because he's going to enjoy messing with him. After that, Shin brings them to the hot spring city by using a gate, and May gets super pumped to see that they're in a totally different city in just a few seconds. Olga tells her off for getting too excited, and Shin holds his hand out for her. May grabs it, and August tells her to do everything Shin tells her and not wander away from him. He then looks at Elizabeth and tells her that she can be at the camp, but there won't be anyone to take care of her every need here. She says back that it's okay because she's there just to make sure that nothing's taking his attention away from what he should be doing. Shin figures that Elizabeth feels jealous of the girls who are with them at the camp, but she says back that she isn't worried about the girls. The person who makes her worry is actually Shin, because every single moment she's with August, he only talks about him. Shin immediately feels grossed out at the idea of Elizabeth, thinking that something's happening between him and August. The prince knows how to talk though, and he tells his friends that she's the only person for him. For him, Shin is a guy friend with whom he can mess around freely, and since that's something new for him, he gets too into it. Elizabeth feels touched by what he says and chooses to stop being mad at August. They head to a restaurant to get some food, and August tells her that Shin already has a girlfriend, and he gets all nervous. August tells him to quit being such a wimp and make things clear with Cicely about where they stand, because it's obvious to everyone that they're both crazy about each other. Shin still has his doubts and asks what's going to happen if what he observes turns out to be the wrong thing and his relationship with Cicely gets worse. August asks him back if he's happy with how things are at this moment. He asks him if his plan is to make a girl come forward and tell him her feelings first, because he's too scared. Shin's mind fills with doubt as he hears all this, and even when they get back to the mansion, he stays lost in what he's thinking. Elizabeth and May tell Cicely that Shin talks only about her on their trip here, and they look like a really adorable couple. Both of them get all red when they hear this, and Shin does everything he can to make the two girls be quiet. Once that's done, Elizabeth and May say hello to the powerful old couple. Meg gets all worked up as she sees Melinda standing there in person, and Shin lets her know that the girl is a massive fan of hers. She walks up to May by herself and finds her really cute. Melinda says that she wishes Shin could have been this sweet when he was little too, but he's just a troublemaker who can never be left by himself. Everyone agrees with what she says, and they wish that their kids aren't as much trouble as him. Shin feels bummed out, but then Cicely says that she doesn't think the same way as them. She says that their kids are definitely going to be amazing, and then right away her face turns red as she gets what she just said. As everyone teases her for thinking so far into the future, Cicely gets all embarrassed and runs off. August tells Shin that this should prove to him that Cicely really likes him, and he has to admit it now. Later that night, as Shin takes a walk, he finds Cicely sitting all alone. He walks up to her, but neither of them knows what to say to each other. After things stay awkward for a bit, Cicely says sorry for the careless words she says earlier, and Shin says back that he feels a little bit happy to hear that. They start talking about their first meeting after that, and Shin admits that the first time he lays eyes on her, he feels a lightning bolt hit his heart. She says back in a shy way that she also thinks he's a really good-looking guy. After hearing this, Shin finally gets enough courage to tell Cicely that he loves her, and she starts crying happy tears when she hears it. She says back that she loves him too, and Shin asks her to be his girlfriend. She says yes right away, and they move closer to kiss. Their friends are spying on them though, and they fall out of where they're hiding at the last second, stopping their first kiss from happening. Not just his friends, but his grandparents are also there to see him finally become a real man. He then says out loud that he and Cicely are dating now, and Cicely's manager also jumps out of the bushes to congratulate them. Elvis also congratulates Shin, but tells him not to get so caught up in the romance that he forgets about the training. Shin asks why he sets him up for this then, and August says back that it's because there's a general thing in stories where a guy who puts off his confession because of war never makes it out alive to actually do it. The day after, everyone shows up at the beach, and Shin tells them that they aren't there to have fun, but to train. The training is basically beach ball for the typical fan service, plus the extra rule that they can use magic on the ball. The game kicks off and Alice tosses the ball way up in the sky before jumping up after it using the physical reinforcement spell. She hits it down with all her power, but Olivia receives it without any problem. Thor sets the ball up for Tony to spike it with winged magic. Mark lifts it up with his wind magic, and then Rin jumps up and smacks the ball with a flame spell. The ball that's on fire goes straight at Yuri, who tries to use a water shield, but can't stop the ball and gives up the first point for her team, while everyone else gets pumped up to play the game. Shin wonders if it's really that simple to get good at volleyball. All of a sudden, a random fire shot heads toward Elizabeth and May, but Merlin quickly stops it using his magic barrier and saves the girls, while Melina gives a lecture to the people who caused this stray shot. Merlin thinks that this game is a good way to train their control and tells them to keep playing. After playing the game for the whole day, everyone meets up in the mansion when night comes. Shin learns that all the people there have already met August and Elizabeth when they're 5 years old. Royals and nobles throw a party when their kids turn 5 and everyone from the same age group gets invited there. They start talking about parties, their love stories, and their relationships when Shin suddenly notices something and tells everyone to be quiet. A few moments pass and then Melinda bursts into their room and tells them to go to sleep early because tomorrow they have to train some more. The lights are off though and everyone hides in the beds. They're almost about to get away with it, but somehow Shin and Cicely end up in the same bed and she can't keep her and panting under control because of how he touches her. Because of that, Melinda finds him and everyone else out and they get a really bad scolding. The morning after, Shin and Cicely run into each other in the hallway and their faces turn red as they think back to their hot and heavy moments from last night. Shin tries to change what they're talking about by saying that they should head to get some breakfast, but before they do that, Cicely has something she wants to ask him about. She wants him to meet her parents and tell them about their relationship before her dad goes off to work. Shin thinks this sounds like a good plan, but as soon as he stands in front of Cicely's parents, he can't find the right words to say. He gathers up all his courage though and tells them in a polite way that he's dating their daughter and they're there to get their blessings. Shin worries that her parents won't react well to this news. But the opposite of what he thinks happens, and Cicely's dad grabs his hands and thanks him for picking his daughter. Shin can't believe this is how he reacts, but Cicely's mom tells her husband to settle down a little bit. She has a question for Shin before she can say yes to him being her daughter's boyfriend. She says that they're a noble family, and a daughter from a noble family can't be allowed to date without being engaged to the person she loves. She asks Shin if he's ready to be engaged to her, and he says yes with confidence. After that, both of Cicely's parents say yes to him being her boyfriend. Right after that, they go back to the mountains to train and find Tony and Thor shooting fireballs over and over without stopping. Elizabeth can't believe what she's seeing, but Shin tells her that this is only a warm-up. Merlin walks over to her and May and asks them if they're also interested in training a little bit. Elizabeth says no because she has absolutely no talent for magic, but May wants to do it. Merlin starts her lesson with some basic magic control stuff, and it turns out that May has a whole lot of potential. Both Merlin and Melinda praise her and that makes all the girls feel jealous. Rin decides that she won't lose to anyone and focuses on her magic, but once again she does too much and explodes. Once that's over, Shin decides to make a new type of magic, and his friends hide behind magic barriers because they don't think his experiments are going to be safe for them. As Shin picks up a stone, they make their magic barriers even stronger, but he tells them that there's really no reason to worry because he isn't making offensive magic right now. Shin then lets out a huge amount of magic and starts pouring it into the rock. He uses his newly made spell and all of a sudden the rock starts floating in the air. Shin shouts out that it's a success and everyone else can't believe what they're looking at. They ask him to explain his new spell, and Shin says that it's anti-gravity or levitation magic. Nobody gets the modern science words, but they agree that Shin does something incredible. He tells them though that this is just a preview and the real show hasn't started yet. Shin casts the anti-gravity spell on himself and floats in the air, and then he uses wind magic to move himself around. He laughs because even though he can't control it completely yet, it's really fun and everyone else is totally shocked. Shin comes back down and says that since Spectrum also uses this kind of floating magic, he makes it to fight against him. Later that night, Shin tells his grandparents that he's engaged to Cicely. They're surprised by this sudden news and Shin says sorry for not telling them about it earlier. Cicely tries to defend him and take the blame, but Melinda and Merlin don't have any problem with it. Actually, they're expecting this to happen sooner or later. Before making their engagement public though, Melinda wants to meet Cicely's parents, so they visit them right away. There Merlin and Melinda reveal that they don't have any blood ties with Shin. They want to let Cicely's parents know about this matter, because they think one of the main reasons they say yes to Shin is because he's their grandson. Cicely's dad says back that he's disappointed in Merlin and Melinda for thinking so poorly of his family. He says that the reason they agreed to this engagement isn't because Shin is their grandson, but because he values Cicely a lot and always tries to keep her safe. Shin and his grandparents are really happy to hear this, and they thank Cicely's parents. Once that's done, Shin thanks his grandparents for raising him right, and both of them get emotional hearing that. A few days go by, and then Shin gives new outfits to all members of his group. These new clothes have really advanced defensive enchantments, camouflage options, and temperature control. Everyone figures out that their uniforms are now beyond the national treasure level. Shipman tells them that he hasn't put any special enchantments on their boots, because it's tricky to use them if he does. Only August is smart enough to figure out that Shin is giving them the upgraded uniforms, because today's training is going to be dangerous. Everyone freaks out on hearing this, and Shin says that today they're going to set up actual combat training by taking down a catastrophe-class demon. Nobody feels confident about being able to do that, but Shin promises them that they're already strong enough, and on top of that, their uniforms will make sure that they don't get seriously hurt. May complains that she also wants to join them, but August says no since today's training is really dangerous. As the girl doesn't stop making a fuss about it, Shin gets an idea. He makes a basic telephone using paper cups and demon spider silk and tests it out by talking to May. After going into a different room, he tells her that she can keep practicing how to use the telephone while everyone's out training. All of a sudden, Melinda gets to May's location, and as soon as she sees the telephone, she goes off on Shin to make something out of this world again. He gets sick of her complaining, so he hangs the telephone over a statue and runs off with his friends. They go into the forest, and Cicely uses sensory magic to find exactly where a catastrophic class demon is. It turns out to be a demonized lion, and Shin says that it's slow but powerful. Cicely says that they should use range attacks to fight it, and he pats her head to give her a compliment. The singles among the group aren't happy to see them flirting happily, so Shin quickly moves on to the work they need to do. Julius, Yuri, Mark, Cicely and Olivia are put in a team to fight the demon lion. August worries because all of them usually do well in supporting roles, but Shin thinks that they're strong enough to beat the demon. The lion notices them and Shin gives them the command to get ready. Everyone activates their magic, and on Shin's signal, they shoot it toward the demon lion. As the attacks with multiple elements hit the lion from all sides, it figures out that it's in big trouble. A giant explosion shakes the entire forest, and Shin realizes that sending 5 people to fight just a catastrophe-level demon is too much, because now there's just a crater where the demon used to be. Shin then says that if the supporting fighters can do this, their main damage dealers can probably beat a demon of this level by themselves. So they do exactly that. Everyone finds a catastrophe-level demon and beats it individually. Tony has even learned how to use the ultrasonic blade from Shin, and everyone feels impressed. Later that evening, Shin gets dressed up because it's his engagement party. Cicely comes to his room to get him, and he can't look away from her. They get too lost in looking at each other's eyes. But then Cicely's mom shows up there and tells them to come downstairs because the guests are waiting for them. They get a warm welcome from their friends and family, and even the king is there to act as a witness and to congratulate them. Later that night, Shin and Cicely go out to the balcony, where he takes out an engagement ring from his pocket and formally asks her to marry him. Cicely offers him her hand and he puts the ring on her finger. The day after that, Shin shows his entire group how to fly. He just uses the anti-gravity magic on them and they use their wind magic to keep their flight under control. He's also made the loudspeaker, and he hooks it up to the telephone he makes earlier to tell his friends to come down, because now it's time for the second group to fly in the air. At the same time, in the Empire, and his demon army have finally wiped out every town and village in a systematic way. He gets this news from his trusted lieutenants, Zest and Maria. Maria thinks about how the demon squad, with Zest leading them, attacked merchant groups, making food hard to find and way more expensive. The nobles kept living their fancy lives while the common people go hungry, and Strom uses their anger to turn them into demons. Those demons then kill the nobility and destroy towns that are close by, bringing the empire to total ruin. Maria isn't totally on board with how Strom does things. Even though she gets why he hates nobles, she doesn't like that a lot of commoners have died in his war. Right after that, Strom calls a meeting of all the demons he controls. He thanks them for completely destroying the empire, and the demons celebrate. Strom says though that his goal is to overthrow the empire, and now that it's done, he doesn't have anything else to do. The demons aren't happy to hear this, and they say that they should keep conquering kingdoms nearby and take over the entire world. Strom says that they can do whatever they want, but he doesn't have the same ambitions as them. One demon chooses to go off on his own, and Strom tells him that he's completely free to do that. He even tells other demons to leave if they have any ambitions. After a bunch of them have left, Maria asks Strom why he hates the Empire so much because she's heard that he used to be an Imperial Duke himself. Strom realizes that he's never shared his life story with him and thinks that this is the right time to do it. He says that the story begins 2 years ago when he's a normal human. He's a duke, but even with his noble position, he often hangs out with the common people and helps them with farming. His territory is doing really well under his forward-thinking policies, and his wife is soon about to give birth to their first child. Because of his good policies towards the commoners though, he makes a lot of enemies, including the man who becomes the emperor of the empire later. The nobles aren't happy about Strom's growing wealth and influence, so the future emperor comes up with a plan. He asks the nobles to call Strom to the capital and keep him there as long as they can, and in that time he's going to bring about his downfall. Right after that, Shrimp gets a letter from other nobles saying that they're also eager to use his lenient policies. He's really happy as he reads the letter and decides to go to the meeting they're holding about the policies. His wife worries because she knows how some nobles are jealous of her husband, but Strom is one of the best magicians in the whole empire, and he's confident that he can handle anything. A few days after Strom leaves his territory, people start vanishing all of a sudden, and the nobles plant rumors about them being kidnapped and being sold off as slaves by the duke. More and more people start believing the rumors that make Strom look like a villain. A few weeks go by, and they even stage a kidnapping, and the fake police sent by nobles show the commoners some kidnapped girls in a wagon that belongs to Strom. This makes the public really angry, and they decide to take matters into their own hands. They set Strom's mansion on fire with his pregnant wife still inside it. When Struby gets back to his territory, he's completely devastated by the sight of his house burning. He feels heartbroken as he sees his dead wife and asks the townspeople why they do this cruel thing. They blame him for kidnapping people and selling them off as slaves, and they tell him that the imperial police show them solid evidence. That's the moment Strom figures out that the nobles have plotted against him to destroy him. He loses his mind as he curses the people who pay back his kindness with this evil thing, and the empire that lets the bad nobles do as they please in his territory. He gets overpowered by his grief and rage, and dark energy starts swarming around him. Strom declares that he's going to destroy the people and the empire, and then he turns into a demon. Just with his transformation into a demon, he lets out enough energy to completely destroy his town. Strom laughs at the end of all the destruction and swears that he's going to destroy the empire from the emperor to the last commoner. After hearing his story, Zest thinks that since their master has achieved his goal of destroying the empire, he needs something else to do now. That's why he tells his assistant to attack a small kingdom merely, because that's going to force Shin to come out and fight them. At the same time in the capital, the coronation ceremony of Prince August is being held when suddenly a messenger shows up there with the news of demons being spotted near their border. The public freaks out on hearing this, but August tells them to calm down because they have a special unit that's perfectly able to take down the demons. He then calls Shin to take the stage with him and introduces him to the public as the new hero who stopped the demon attack in the Magic Academy. August says that they've grown stronger because of him, and then he takes off his cloak to show the battle uniform he's wearing underneath it. He then tells Shin to talk to the public and give them a performance that calms their hearts, and he also asks him to come up with a cool name for their group. The first part of what he asks is easy, but Shin struggles while coming up with a name, so he declares that they're ultimate magicians, which everyone finds really cringe. After that, Shin casts the floating magic on everyone and they fly toward the border to take care of the demons. In the small kingdom next door, the Knight Commander and his soldiers see a huge group of demons riding toward them. He figures out that their country is done for because they aren't strong enough to fight the demons, and even if they send a request to the kingdom for help, it's going to take a week for backup to show up. He calls together all the magicians they have on hand and tells them to use their magic barrier to protect the castle walls from the demon attacks. They stop the first wave of attacks from the demons because of the special defensive gear. At the same time, Shin and his group are flying toward the neighboring kingdom, and he's still cringing over the name Ultimate Magicians, especially because he knows that it's way too late to change it now. August teases him about it, but Rin really thinks that it's a good name. Maria flies over to him and says that she's nervous about fighting a demon, but Shin tells her to cheer up because she's stronger than a demon now. He then asks Cicely to hang back and look after the injured people instead of fighting. As for the others, Shin tells them to make pairs and take down demons one at a time. Pretty soon, the kingdom comes into view and it looks like it's already being attacked by the demons. The demons keep blasting the town with attacks, messing with the civilians who are running for their lives. As a pair of demons is about to kill a woman and her daughter, Shin drop kicks him in the face and sends him flying. The demon's partner gets really mad at him for trying to fight against them, and he tells Shin that a regular human like him can't face them. He pulls out his weapon and starts releasing his magic, But then he wets his pants as he sees Shin charging the blue flame cannon. With just one shot, Shin wipes out the demon, and in the meantime, Thor is dealing with the second one. After that, they help the mother and daughter get up and point them toward the rescue center. Shin gets furious as he looks around and sees death and destruction all over the place. But then he spots August and Maria on a high tower. August talks to the people of the country and tells them that they're reinforcements from the kingdom of Earl Shurda, and they're there to protect them from the demons. He then calls out to the demons and tells them to leave quietly, because they're up against the new hero Shin, who's famous for killing demons by himself. The people celebrate and cheer on hearing this, but the demons are even more pumped up to fight now. The group splits up into pairs and spreads all over the city. Shin tells Cicely to go to the rescue center and heal people, and she asks him to stay careful. None of them notice that Zest's assistant is hiding nearby, and he wants to test Shin's abilities. At the same time, Alice and Lynn team up and find their first target using the search spell. They come across a demon who has beaten a group of knights without much trouble. The demon makes fun of them for being flatter than a surfboard and asks if they're there to play with Barbie dolls or something. This makes Alice really angry, and she walks ahead while turning on her flame magic. Zest hits her with a water spell though and puts out her fire, telling her that it's no time to let her emotions take over because they're dealing with a demon. Alice settles down and says that she's going to fight more patiently now, but Rin tells her that the demon is already dead. She hit him with a high-pressure water attack while Alice was distracted, and she ended his life right away. All of a sudden, they hear the scream of a knight who's being tortured by a demon. The demon messes with the knight and then shoots a destructive attack at him, but Rin and Alice get there just in time and block it with their magic barriers. This demon also calls Alice flatter than an iPhone screen, so she loses it and hits him with a powerful fire spell that doesn't leave even his ashes behind. After that, they help the knight up, but he tells them that he's still fit enough to walk back to the rescue center by himself. With that, the girls decide to compete to see who can kill more demons. In another location, Julius blocks a demon trying to fight Thor up close, and when a second demon shoots his attack at them, Thor blocks it with his barrier. He at the same time releases a wind blade to deal a deep wound to the demon. Thor asks the demon if they're doing this on Strom's order, but he won't talk and attacks him again. Thor uses a wind blade to land multiple slashes on him and bring him to his knees. He asks the demon why he and other demons are trying to ruin this country, and he says back that it's their basic instinct as demons to destroy things. He yells that they were filled with hatred for the nobility that pushed them down, and when they turned into demons, those feelings exploded and gave them the desire to destroy everything. He gets ready to fight again, but he and his partner are quickly beaten. In another spot, two demons have trapped a few knights against the wall, when suddenly a magic circle shows up under one of them. The unlucky demon freezes right away, and his partner finds Yuri on a rooftop nearby. It's about to attack her, but then Tony rushes ahead with the ultrasonic blade and cuts both demons in one slash at the same time. Another team of demons has figured out about the rescue center, and they decide to cause chaos there. Mark is standing guard there. He nervously holds a sword to face the demons. One demon rushes toward him, but then a huge concrete block hits him and he gets crushed underneath it. Olivia declares that she's going to protect her boyfriend, and the second demon tries to attack her, only to get burned up by Mark, who declares that he's going to keep his girlfriend safe. The first demon gets up while cursing them, but they launch a combo attack to beat him right away. Inside the rescue center, Cicely is having a hard time healing the ever-growing number of injured people. In the meantime, Shin has been destroying demons and taking many of them out with each attack. They attack him from all sides, but he uses a bunch of different spells to completely wipe them out. Zest's assistant has been spying on him the entire time, and now he's sweating because Shin is way stronger than he could imagine. He's there to figure out his weakness, but now he thinks that Shin is a monster without any weak points. In yet another spot, August and Maria have cleared all the demons nearby. When the leader of the demons shows up to face them, the demon thinks that the prince is the head of the group, and he wants to kill him to scare everyone away. August laughs as he says the name of his group, Ultimate Magicians, before saying that he's not the leader. He agrees though that if they take out the leader, the others will lose motivation, and he's going to do that to the leader of the demons. He challenges the demon to attack him first, but Maria suddenly launches a surprise attack on the demon. He defends himself from her sneak attack though, using two humans as his shield. The demon then throws those two people toward them, and as Maria tries to dodge, he hits her with a powerful punch. Because of her special defensive armor, most of the damage from that punch gets absorbed. If not, Maria would have suffered multiple broken bones. The demon grabs her arm and throws her into a wall, but she's still okay. Even with that, she puts her magic into the uniform and the wounds on her body start to heal. The demon notices that and figures out that the parts not covered by the uniform are still vulnerable. Maria tells him that it's useless, even if he has noticed that, and attacks him with a fireball, making a huge explosion. She doesn't stop and keeps hitting him with fireballs. But when the smoke goes away, she finds that the demon is unharmed. He uses a special defensive tool that he took away after beating some magicians from the kingdom earlier. Now Maria and August give each other a look and right away run in opposite directions to surround the demon. August attacks him with lightning magic, but the demon easily blocks it using the tool, and then Maria attacks him from the other side. He keeps on blocking their non-stop attacks but soon starts losing confidence because his opponents don't seem to get tired at all. All of a sudden, there's a gap in his concentration and his barrier gets weaker. It breaks right after that, and he gets hit by Maria's fireball. As soon as the demon gets up after that attack, August hits him with a lightning spell and creates a perfectly round hole in his chest. The demon dies with that, and August and Maria keep going with their mission. His assistant gets shocked when he finds that not just Shin, but his entire team is strong enough to beat demons, and he wonders how they can deal with him. Even Zest and Maria are hiding outside the castle, and they also think that Shin is too powerful for ordinary demons to handle. They think that it's not smart to sacrifice any more troops, but getting them out isn't going to be easy. That's why Maria takes it on herself to distract the magicians and give the demons a chance to escape. She melts and blasts the heavy door protecting the city and then causes serious explosions everywhere. Maria beats the knights without any trouble, and she's about to blow their commander into nothing too, when suddenly Rin and Alice show up there. They block Maria's attack using their barriers until the knight commander can get away since he's only going to slow them down. Maria stops her attack and asks the girls who they are. They get into a really cringe pose and declare that they're the ultimate magicians. Rin attacks Maria with her lightning magic, but she's way too fast and dodges the attack without any problem. Alice attacks her next, but she blocks her fire attack using her magic barrier. Alice blasts her with a fire magic again, but Maria dodges it and attacks her from behind. Alice gets away without much damage and heals herself using her uniform. Maria gets surprised to see the uniform and then Alice attacks her again. She fights back with her attacks, and as Alice tries to guard against them, Maria slides under her and knocks her down. Rin tries to attack her, but Maria holds Alice as a shield. On the other hand, Zest's assistant gets a message that his boss is there. He right away orders all the demons to pull back, but they say no. All of a sudden, Shin shows up there and burns one of them down with his blue flames, putting terror in the hearts of other demons and making them run. He keeps attacking them as they run away, but then they get on the roofs. Sushin uses his floating magic to chase after them and then uses the pinpoint devastating attack to wipe them out. He swings the devastating beam to destroy all the demons escaping by jumping over the wall, but has to stop the attack as it gets close to some knights. All of a sudden, he notices huge explosions in the distance. Maria is fighting against Lin there, and because she has Alice as a hostage, she easily beats her. Yuri and Tony have also gotten there and they decide to back them up. Yuri attacks Maria from behind, but she simply throws Alice toward the attack. Alice uses her barrier to somehow protect herself from the attack, but that doesn't stop her from hitting Yuri head first. They're knocked out and Tony tries to cover for them with his ultrasonic blade. He swings it as Maria rushes at him, but she easily dodges his swing and takes his weapon away before breaking his barrier. Maria launches a devastating attack at Tony point blank and slams him against the wall. All of a sudden, a bolt of lightning comes toward her, but she dodges it and takes down Lin by trapping her between rocks. Alice is back on her feet now, and she lets loose her magic to attack Maria. She points her next attack toward Tony, though when Alice is forced to rush to defend him as she uses her barrier to push away Maria's attack. She gets knocked out cold when a stone attack hits her stomach. Now only Yuri is left, and she shakes in fear as Maria walks up to her. All of a sudden, Shin shows up there and tells Maria to stop. She does what he says and waits for him as he frees Rin and heals her. Maria is curious to see how strong he is and she charges toward him. Shin attacks her with his ultrasonic blade, but she easily dodges and traps him in a stone prison. Shin cuts through it, only to find Maria charging at him. He blocks her attack using his barrier, making a huge explosion. It's Shin's turn to fight back, and Maria barely dodges a slash from his ultrasonic blade. All of a sudden, August and others show up to back up Shin, and Maria figures out that this is her chance to get away. She rushes away from Shin, grabbing Maria's face on the way and smashing her to the ground. Shin uses his jet boots to chase after her, but his path gets blocked by an ice wall which Zest's assistant casts. He asks Miria to attack the magicians now that they're surrounded, and she takes to the sky, collecting a crazy amount of magic power. Shin looks at his friends, who are barely holding it together, and thinks that they're all going to die if the attack hits them. He yells at August to protect others, just as Maria lets loose her destructive attack on them. Everyone tries their best to protect themselves, while Shin uses his full power to create a giant barrier to save everyone. He strains and pushes the explosion upward, but when the smoke goes away, he finds that the demons are gone. Luckily, all his friends are still okay. They meet up again and think that the woman demon must have been a high-level magician based on how strong she is. August gets confused about the reason behind this attack and wonders what Strom is thinking. Shin thinks that it's a good thing that he wasn't personally part of this attack, otherwise things would have been really bad for them. August tells everyone to rescue the people and look out for the demons, but tells them to be careful this time. Shin and August then go to the rescue center and find that things are really serious there. Besides Cicely, Mark and Olivia are also busy healing the injured people. They report that there are way too many injured people, and Cicely is healing the most serious ones inside. August decides to call everyone there to help with the treatment and asks Shin to support his girlfriend. Inside, Cicely is getting to the end of her magic, but still pushing forward to save the lives of anyone she can. She loses her magic powers soon and the treatment of her patient stops. She cries that there's nothing she can do for him since his injuries are so bad. All of a sudden she starts to take off her clothes, saying that her clothes are filled with auto-healing magic, and if she dresses the patient in them, he might still be saved. Shin shows up there in the nick of time though and covers her with his coat right away. He tells her that his wounds are too serious to be healed by the uniform or her, but he thinks that he can still save him. Shin uses a ton of magic power to heal the man, and he's impressed that Cicely managed to keep him alive for so long despite his serious wounds. He heals the injured organs one part at a time, and soon the man is out of danger. As the patient's wife thanks Shin, Cicely gets overwhelmed with an inferiority complex. As they walk away from the room, she grabs Shin's uniform, saying that he's too awesome and that she can never do what he can. She starts crying while saying that she's as useless as Sakura and always has to depend on him, and he tells her that it's not true. Shin tells her that she's the reason the man is still alive and he's not the only one. He points toward the people whom she saved, and they thank Cicely, calling her a sanctus. After that, the ultimate magicians meet King, and he thanks them for saving his kingdom. August tells the king that some things about this incident don't feel right to him, because he has no clue why Shrimp would attack such a small nation after destroying the empire. He tells King that Shin has fought Strom before and drove him away, and that should make him aware of their power. That's why August wants to form an alliance with King, and he agrees to help fight in the future. After that, the group gets together, and Shin thinks that they must be ready for another demon attack at any time. August is thinking the same thing, and they declare that they're going to protect the world together. Right after that, they get back to Earl Shade's capital using the gate and find a group of knights and magicians waiting for them. They throw a party to celebrate the ultimate magicians who drove away the demons, and Shin gets a headache hearing the cringeworthy name he comes up with. Soon, everyone else also shows up there to congratulate them on what they've done. August tells his dad that he has a report about this matter and tells him about the alliance with King. He then asks his father's permission to reach out to other nations about joining the alliance as well. The king gives him permission to contact each nation as his ambassador, and Shin gets permission from his grandparents to join August on his journey. That's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe the channel for more anime recap videos.